So hello everyone, my name is Yang. I'm the VP of Product at Catalon. Thank you all for joining the webinar with us today. I'm very excited to share with you guys about this topic, testing in DevOps, meeting the need for speed. So for any question that you might have during the webinar, please put it in the Q&A section. We come to answer as many as we can after the presentation. So here's the agenda of our presentation today. Firstly, I will have a quick introduction about Katalon platform. Then I will go through the top challenges of testing in DevOps environment from recent quality and testing reports. Then we go through the next I will present the solution for overcoming the testing blocker. And then we'll have the demo several features of TestUp to show how TestUp can improve product quality and also product delivery speed. Last but not least is the Q&A section. So Catalon is a quality platform with various products cover different aspects of testing lifecycle. We have Katalon Studio, Katalon TestOps, and also Katalon Recorder and Catalon. We're having new product in development as well, such as TestUp. It's a solution for on-demand environment, which should be rolled out shortly this year. All right, so among our products, Katalon Studio is the most well-known one. It's built and positioned as an all-in-one test generation solution. So 2020 is the second consecutive year Katalon Studio was named as the best automation testing software reviewed by our users and customers on Gartner. Katalon Studio provides automation testing solution for many types of end application, web, mobile, API, and desktop testing. We have more to come in the near future. Studio also covers a wide range of testing environments, such as latest Android, iOS versions, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, as well as the new Edge running on Chromium. Moreover, Studio is also available on container platforms such as Docker and cloud services like Amazon Web Services, Azure DevOps, that serve the foundation to deploy automation testing to cloud DevOps, which have enabled remote working, which is a norm nowadays. So one having test script from Katalon Studio, Katalon TestOps will have take care of the rest of the testing lifecycle. So this is a more detailed architectural view of Katalon TestOps, our main focus for the webinar today. It is positioned as an open, complete, and smart test orchestration solution. As you can see here, it consists of various components from test management, test planning, configuration, to test executions, report, and analytics. The idea of TestUp is not only to provide the whole solution for the testing lifecycle from planning to monitoring, but also to integrate with any of your existing tool and solution, such as LLM, CI/CD, or environment provider, to help you achieve continuous testing. All right, so let's learn about the top challenges in DevOps testing nowadays. Firstly, from the continuous testing report 2020 by Shipwright at Broscon, survey on over 500 IT executives from the top North American and EU company. When asked how challenging it is to implement continuous testing, almost 2/3 of the respondents say they find it difficult to have skilled professionals to build their continuous testing strategy. 56% of the respondents said they cannot achieve in-sprint testing. And 63% of respondents admit they cannot get enough visibility or information throughout the development lifecycle for making decisions. Meanwhile, embedding non-functional testing into the pipelines, or access the on-demand test environments and test data are issues of over 60% of respondents. So we know that DevOps is tough, and embed testing into DevOps to achieve continuous testing is not easy at all. Therefore, company need skillful engineer to make it happen. And we need to learn skill as well every day. However, the shock in supply of professional resources is becoming a big barrier to the company's success nowadays. Did you know that the pressure to cut costs to maintain business continuity of many companies during this COVID time also create more challenges for companies to retain their talent. So that's the reason why companies find it difficult for them to have skilled professional to overcome the problem of having testing happen in their DevOps. So the ability to deliver new functionality with high speed and confidence is the key to competitive advantage of company nowadays. So every company is a software company. Almost a business need a website, need a service to run. But failure in quality directly impact the company brand and also the bottom line. Let's assume that you cannot access the Amazon website for some minutes. It will heavily hurt the Amazon brand. Therefore, the visibility into performance, value, and return on investment of what we are building and delivering is vital to organization success. However, 78% of respondents admit that they are still far from making that full visibility happen. Furthermore, this percentage is virtually unchanged from the report last year, indicate that these issues is really persistent. So, aggressive test environment and test data blocks is necessary in achieving high level of maturity in continuous testing. However, companies have difficulty in making that happen. From the test environment standpoint, the ability to spin up environment dynamically will be the key. Anyway, test environment is one of the greatest impediment of continuous testing we have throughout the report. So over 36% of respondents say that they spend over 50% of their time, that's a lot of time, to managing just their environment. And also in test data management, given the current regulatory complex GDPR, it's critical to have a virtualized and generate synthetic data and mark production data. So of course, our customer will not happy if they know that we're using their data to test our environment. So it needs to be working in the way that align with the customer standard. So also in this same survey, several issues regarding test data are also highlighted. More than half of respondents said their team are dependent on data administrator to get the data they need. It means they need to wait. 47% mentioned the challenge of having the right test data version in case that they have to manage different version of test data for different version of software as well. All right. So other challenges I also mentioned in the Work Quality Report 2021 by Capgemini and Micro Focus. This report is consolidated by 1,750 interviews with employees with various job titles and from company industry and size across the world. This is the consolidated result we have from the question: how often do your QA team achieve the following targets when testing key applications? So only 45% of respondents say they have the right testing strategy, process, and methodology. This means more than half of respondents had difficulty figuring out the right one when do testing for their key application. This is partially a consequence of the lack of skillful resources that we mentioned previously, but it also due to the tough nature of the testing process. It is a topic that companies need to continually improve to optimize their testing cycle. So it's not a surprise that having enough time is a big challenge to testing. If you are QA, I'm sure that you're always in the pressure that need to make sure that the quality of the product at its good state and also make it on time. The problem become worse during the year of the COVID pandemic, as the percentage of respondents is lower as compared to the previous year, which means more people, more companies have pressure with their time, much more than before. Many of respondents say that they sometimes have to sacrifice their quality coverage for meeting their delivery schedule and vice versa. Furthermore, the interviewer believes that this percentage should go lower if they have chance to talk to each of the team members. So they mean that it seems team lead don't want to admit that their testing time is being squeezed out. Another challenge is having the right level of test automation. Only 58% of respondents believe they can find a sweet spot of automation level for the team. The challenge hasn't gone away, and it equal to the number in the last year report. It's also relevant with the result of another surveys in the same report that many respondents mark a high level of importance to their task for removing the redundant tasks. So the popularities of test automation is also made clear in the important attack to the implementation of intelligent autonomous test solution that many people are interested in today. A little more information about autonomous testing is where an automated process can run software, identify need, spin out test case, run the test, and then report on of them without manual interventions. This is the step that many companies want to achieve nowadays, and is also a goal for Catalon at the company. All right, so we have go through the top latest challenges in DevOps testing. Now it's time to explore the expert recommendations on how to overcome those blockers. The insight that we have also refer from the Continuous Testing Report 2020 and the Work Quality Report 2021. So the key recommendation are test orchestration, Shiplab and Shipwright testing, and artificial intelligence and machine learning. So test orchestration have fuel efficiencies and transparency throughout the DevOps pipeline. Meanwhile, Shiplab and Shipwright testing make quality a shared ownership across organization to fasten the feedback loop and also speed up the deployment. Meanwhile, AI and ML provide a smarter way of working to free up space for more value-added tasks. So let's go for more details. According to the work quality reports, for continuous testing, automation and orchestration must go hand in hand. So while test automation address single tasks, test orchestration embed testing into the CI/CD pipeline to tie together both automated and manual tasks and address qualities as a whole. So orchestration deliver comprehensive visibility into testing, allow organization to understand the activity in each of the phase, who is responsible, any area for improvement, and also track the success metric over time. So, being that said, orchestration can help drive continuous testing and continuous delivery maturity. So since testing is so often the bottleneck in the development life cycle, the benefit delivered through test orchestration will have direct impact on the ability to deliver quality application aspect. Applying test orchestration properly will help solve the lack of skilled engineer and professional, the lack of visibility throughout the development lifecycle, as we mentioned already, and also the shortage of test environment and test data on demand. So that orchestration will give us the full pictures and help us overcome majority of the problem as mentioned previously. Next, Superlab and Shipwright testing. So these two approaches sound to be exclusive, but it can totally be utilized at the same time. So, Superlab, I believe that it's a well-known practice that many people know that. It is intended to identify and address defect and area improvement as early as possible in the software development lifecycle. So instead of validation, do quality validations later in the cycle. This approach allows fast and reliable testing across all kinds of testing, like unit tests, functional tests, API, performance, security, and so on. So meanwhile, Shipwright, on the other hand, is still far from being widespread. A solid Shipwright practice includes strong use production monitoring data and tool to understand real user journey with flow and design through model-based testing. So there are a lot of terms regarding to Shipwright. So for Shipwright to happen successfully, though data can help boost the accuracies of validation process. Now, when we know the behavior of end users, we know what happened significantly on productions, we can focus to what matters to user rather than spending our effort on cover everything. So that's the spirit of Shipwright testing. So for Shipwright testing, it also related to technique like feature flag, like crowd testing, and also mechanism that allow company to put their code to production as fast as they can, have it verified directly in the end environment, but still keep the safe and the capability to have quick action in terms of anything go wrong for their production. So when applying Superlab and Shipwright testing properly, it would definitely have resolved the shortage of testing time. Because now, testing will happen everywhere. From the time that we have requirement, build code, until the time that we have our new functionality live on production. It's not a one-time doing anymore, which means that we have more time for doing our testing. It also have solved the lack of in-sprint testing. It make testing can happen early within the sprint of development without to wait for another sprint for do thoroughly testing, which I believe many teams having this problem. And also have solved the difficulty in figuring out the testing strategy, process, and methodology, because these are the methodology by itself and will give us the way to go, and we know what to do when applying those approaches. And last but not least, it will also help find the right level of automation testing. As I mentioned already, we don't need to do automate for everything, but we know what matter to focus on. Lastly, it's about using artificial intelligence and machine learning. So AI ML is no longer a myth, but now a key criteria for customer when choosing a new testing solution. So to make it simple, AI and machine learning help replace repetitive manual tasks, optimize the entire process from different aspects, and ease the need of scaling for organizations. So applying AI and machine learning could help resolve trade-off between quality and speed, enhance efficiencies and effectiveness of the whole pipeline, and finally, eliminate the testing bottleneck in the software development lifecycle when it reaches the highest autonomous testing level. So we know the recommendation for the expert. Let's see how TestUp is designed for enabling the quality aspect in testing for DevOps. So firstly, TestUp is positioned as an open, complete, and smart test orchestration platform. So being an orchestration platform, we help customers to easily deal with test planning, configuration, executions, test environment, report, and analytics without professional skill, and get the visibility throughout the testing cycle and embed automated testing into the DevOps pipeline. That's what TestUp aims to achieve. TestUp also make Shiplab and Shipwright testing adoption feasible for business, and it seamlessly integrate with other tool, platform, and methodology, such as IOM platform, production monitoring tool, or BDD, TDD approaches. So TestUp is powered by AI machine learning, and we gradually introduce smart features into our product. So in the next 3 years, we aim to reach the status of fully autonomous testing. It's a very long way to go, but we know that we want to get there. All right, so there are so much theory for the presentation today. Let's get some real works. For the demo today, I will demonstrate several features of TestUp, including the parallel, built-in parallel executions, and just-in-time auto distribution for optimizing execution speed. The similar failure analysis would help boost the productivity of test investigations, and the release readiness, requirement coverage, and traceability metrics would help improve the comprehensive transparency and the visibility of the product quality. All right. So firstly, this is Catalon Studio. And in Catalon Studio, I have built a test suite collection consist of 4 test suites. This is gonna be used at the demo in Katalon TestOps. Now this is the UI of Katalon TestOps. Firstly, we have configuration sections. This have to deal with script repository, agent setup, and other integration with CI/CD tool, AOM, on any other platform in the software development lifecycle. I have configured the script repository in TestUp to use the project in Studio that I just chose. And then I will set up a test planning to schedule for running the test suite collection that I have. Right. I will schedule a test run. Go to test planning, you can schedule your test run. I select the script repo that I have uploaded already. I put a name like demo executions. I put here the test suite collection. So now I put on parallel. So this is the built-in features of TestUp that help you to achieve parallel testing with the agent. Okay, I pick the local agents, and here is my 2 agents. I set up 2 agents already in my machine, and I select to run on both of them. All right, this is the other configuration. So it just several steps for you to set up an execution. I put on create. All right, now I will want to execute my test immediately. Okay, when the test is executed, there will be a dashboard for us to have the latest status of the execution. All right, so you can see here in the test suite collection, I have 4 test suites. So when I select to execute in parallel with 2 agents, my agent and my agent 2, it auto split it up the test suite into an agent, and it will distribute equally to this one. My agent will take care of 2 test suites, and my agent 2 will take care of 2. So that's the first capability that we have with parallel testing. Right? Yeah. Working with my agent. So as I have 2 agents, 2 of the sections had been executed, had been started, and this is on queue. All right, it will take a while for executing this test suite collection, so I won't stay here, but instead, I will open an execution that I have run already and show you guys the result. So this is the result that I have run previously on the same test suite collection with 4 test suites. And you remember here, 2 test suites will belong to my agent 2 and 2 test suites will belong to my agent. But with the result here, it shows that 3 of the test suites were executed by my agent 2. So that's the capability about auto distributed the executions with just-in-time capability. So here you can see that my agent take more than 13 minutes to complete the first execution. It might have some problem and some go fail. That's why it run slow, maybe. And for the other execution, it takes 4 minutes. So when agent number 2 finish this task with and this task with, it don't need to wait for my agent 1 to run the other one, but it will proactively pick the task with previously assigned to my agent 1. And you know, when we have that capability, on the execution will be distributed equally to the capability of our executions, and it will help us to save a lot of time for having the final results. So this is the function that we have to have boot the execution. All right, here the text execution are running. So let me stop my agent to continue the demo. All right. All right. So for the second features, this is the execution history that I have. So normally when you have a fair execution, the first thing that we need to do is to go to the execution to see what went wrong. Right. All right. So we have in 30 test result, we have 29 pass and 1 fail. And I point it here already. So when having a failed executions, we need to go through the logs, also check what go wrong, and need to also have the video or images to check what happening. Sometimes we also need to rerun the execution in studio to know what went wrong. It's gonna take time to really identify the problem. However, we just have the feature that can have your life a little bit easier because it's similar failure. So our assumption is that failure in test automation is very easy to repeat. And for one that you have run already and encountered the problem already, if you have the resolve already, you can utilize that. So let's say that for the failure, when click on similar failure, we have three execution in the past, and it have nearly the same problem with the one that we have. And let's check here. For one of the execution in the past, we have already linked to a defect and also linked with a task. Let's say this is a task that we already linked with. So luckily, one of the guys in the team had investigated that same problem already, and he showed that this is the configuration issues and had already contacted IT to fix. So when we know that, it seems that we don't need to do anything else and just wait for the IT to fix this problem and make it work. So we don't need to do anything more just by looking at what we have done in the past. And also, this is the defect that linked to the lab, the previous executions. Oh, the guy locked the defect already. It's in progress, and it is assigned to someone. It seems to be me, right? So I can contact this guy to know what's going on without really invest everything by myself. So that similar failure that we design that aim for helping people speed up the investigation process. And also we have more features. For example, like we can group failure with the same error or the same problem in one group and let people investigate for one time. So we believe that it will significantly reduce the investigation time. And so it should have keep put in the delivery speed and make sure the quality at the same time. All right. So the third features I want to introduce is the release readiness. So this is aimed for having full visibility of the testing lifecycle into one place and have people easier to see what's going on and making decision. Of course, this is not everything that we have. We will also connect with other CI/CD tool and also other OM to pull more information here for people to get on the data. But you can see what happened with the release readiness we have today. When you have integration with Jira, we'll pull the Jira to Jira release into TestUp. We also pull the requirement that we need to implement for that release into TestUp. You can see here, firstly, you can see how many days left until the release days of this release. It's 9 days left. It seems that we need to focus on this. For development, it means that only 50% of the requirement had been changed to done status. 40% of the requirement had been done. So it seems we have problem to take care for the coverage of this release. And this is for testing. So we only have more than 60% of the test case had been executed passed for the last time. Almost 40% of them is still in fails. Okay, we can go into a release to see in more details. For example, in release 8.0, we have 5 test case. But we only have one had been executed successfully. 4 test case still fail. We can also see the platform statistic to see if anything go wrong with specific time of environment or the execution or the failure happen in on over the browser. Also, we have information for build. This is helpful for team who need to make decisions which build can be picked for the deliver for putting into production. Right. Moreover, we also have requirement coverage capability. So this is another view to help us to see more detail what is going on for each of the requirement in the release that happening. So, for example, this requirement, we have 4 test case, but we have five of them fail. And it's in one in situations. Only a few of requirements have been fully executed successfully. So this map gives us the overview qualities of requirement, which have we connect requirement to test case and to test run results. We also have a views traceability matrix. So with the view, we have the link throughout the requirement to test case, test results, and defect. So I have called with several customers. Many of them need their manually. So that's why we build things like it to have people automatically have the visibilities of their quality in one place. All right. So that 4 features, that the 3 features I'm gonna show to you guys today. Okay, for a question from Samila, can this be integrated with Jira? The answer is yes. And I can show you in the demo recently. For Jira integration, you can integrate with release, requirement, and also defect for linking it into the task A and test result to create the full requirement coverage and traceability metric reports. A question from Harley: how can we reduce execution time with a large volume of tests? So this is a very interesting question. So some of the way we had introduced in the demo via parallel executions and using just-in-time auto distributions. So we have more features coming in the futures that will have pick the most valuable task case to execute, which means that for more of the task case that you have, it doesn't mean that you need to execute every task case when you have a change specifically. We can help you detect what task case you should execute and what task case which is more valuable to execute. So when you execute, when you can limit the task that you run, it will also help you significantly boost the execution time. So a question from Graham: I see a lot of effort going into improving TestUp at the moment. Are there plans to start charging fees or use it in the future, or it will remain free to KSE user? So Graham, nowadays we already have 3 TestUp packets. It's TestUp Free, TestUp Business, and TestUp Enterprise. So the way we have the packet is to design for the need of our user segment. So for TestUp Free, we hope that what we provide regarding the features and the usage can be enough for you to work properly. All right. So it seems that our time is over. So thank you everyone for joining the webinar with us nowadays. We hope that we will continuously to improve our product and also bringing to you guys more webinars in the future. Thank you everyone and have a good day.